All right, so it is time for Module 1, Lesson 26. You are going to be able to analyze a word problem and calculate the percent, the part, or the whole. And this says in 2 word problems in a table activity, but you know you're going to have more than that, right? Just so you're prepared. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this. So, your first problem says 5 of the 25 girls on Alden Middle School's soccer team are 7th grade students. I need to find the percent of the 7th graders on the team. So, this is the important information right here. I have 5 of the 25 girls. So, I know that that 25 is indicating the whole amount of girls on the team, and 5 of them are 7th graders. That means that the rest are some other grade. So if I want to determine what the percentage of 7th graders are, can do this a multitude of different ways. This way that I'm about to show you is just one way. It's the way I'd like you to put on your notes, but it is not the way you have to do it every single time. If you feel comfortable with this, then you are more than welcome to do it. It doesn't always work depending on what your denominator is. So let's set up my first ratio, which would be 5/25. This is my part. This is my whole. We are thinking equivalent ratios. So I want to do that based in percent. So some number is going to be my percentage out of 100. So if I look at this from equivalent ratio standpoint, I can look at it trying to find those patterns. I know I can get from the 25 to the 100 by multiplying by 4. I also know I can go from here to here by multiplying by 5 or dividing by 5 backwards. So you can see 2 different connections there to get where you need to go. I'm going to choose to do the connection between 25 and 1. So since I know that 25 times 4 is 100, I now need to multiply 5 times 4, which gets me 20. So I can say, that, let's see if I can write this in, 20% of the students on the soccer team are 7th graders. Let's take a look at number 2. Of the 25 girls on the Alden Middle School team, 40% also play on a travel team. So, how many of the girls on the middle school team also play on a travel team? I need to figure out all of the different pieces that I have here. So, it says of the 25 girls. So, again, I know that my whole is still 25. 40% also play on a travel team. So that's another different piece of information. Remember, I need to transfer that percent to a fraction, and 40% really means 40 over 100. So I'm not going to put that 40 over 100 sitting here above the 25. I need to use that as my equivalent ratio or fraction because 40% is 40 over 100. All right, so I can do the same thing here. I'm going to look for that connection between the 25 and the 100 because I don't know how many students represent 40%. That's what I need to figure out. But I do know that I can multiply times 4, and I also have to do the same thing here. So some number times 4 equals 40. And to determine that, I do 40 divided by 4, which, as you know, is 10. So 10 represents the part. It goes with the 40. So that means 10 is 40%, which means, since we're answering this question, you can write 10 girls play on the travel team. I'm not going to write the whole thing because I don't have a lot of stuff or a lot of space. So you write the whole thing though. 10 girls play on the travel team. Moving on to number 3, make sure you press pause if you did not get everything from the last one. So number 3, the Alden Middle School girls soccer team won 80% of its games. if the team won 12 games, how many games did it play? Well, I need to identify all of my different pieces. So I know that over here is going to be my part, my whole, the percent will go here, and 100 always goes here. So this always represents my percent over 100. So I'm going to identify each piece. Well, I've got my 80% here. So I'm going to put that 80 over 100 because I know that 80% means 80 over 100. It also says that they won 12 games. Let's see if that connects. This says they won 80%. So technically, this is the W for win, right? So I need this to also be the W for win. And is that the case? Yes, it says 112. So I can place my 12 here. All right. Now I need to know what the total games that they played were. My first instinct is going to be to look for a connection between my fractions. So, do I see an easy way to get from 12 to 80? Not really. Do I see any pattern to get from 8 to 10? Not really. So, I'm going to show you. So, we still don't know what this is. I'm going to put X there. I'm going to show you another way you can determine equivalent ratios. When I cross multiply 12 times 100, that answer is 1200. Whatever this is when I multiply, it also has to equal 1200 to be equivalent. So that means 80 times some number is also going to equal 1200. So in order to figure that out, I'm going to have to divide. So it means 80 times something equals 1200. In order to determine what that something is, I will divide, by 80. You can get your calculator out here for this if you'd like. Type 1200 divided by 80, and you can see that that answer will equal 15. So in my box here, and actually I'm going to try to just erase. Oh, it's not going to let me just erase. That's okay. We'll change colors. And I'll put 15 here. So now I know 12 times 100 is 1200 and 80 times 15 is 1200. That is another way you can determine if you have equivalent ratios because you cross multiply and get the same answer. Now I can go ahead and do all of the other tricks that I know to see if they're equivalent. So if I simplify this, it will simplify to the same thing as this. So you're now seeing that percents are just another form of equivalent ratio, but we're doing a percent as a part of 100. Okay, press pause, make sure you have everything before you move on. Okay, moving on to the next part. At the top of your page, it says 4 and mine says 2. Don't worry about that. The lingo is still the same. You're going to fill in the blanks as I go and write down anything that's missing. So a sweater is regularly $32. It is 20